Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel for another speed build. Today we are finally getting around to putting my take on the ranch style house, including a brand new entire ranch. It's going to include a horse barn, a garden, and of course a really voluminous backyard. As we know, the new horse ranch pack came out just a few weeks ago, and since then I have been seeing ranch builds pop up left and right, and I can't tell you that I'm not loving every second of it. I personally really enjoy the horse ranch pack. If you want to check out my review, I can link that at the end of the video, or you can just go ahead and look to my channel. But I actually really thoroughly enjoyed the gameplay aspects as well as the build and buy mode that came with this pack. And I was a little bit surprised, not because I didn't necessarily think it would be good, but because I don't necessarily gravitate towards that style naturally. And I wasn't a big Sims 3 pets player or a Sims 4 cats and dogs player. I just don't think about it that much. I'm normally focused on having like as many babies as humanly possible, and you can only have so many Sims in a household, so things gotta go. But I've been having a really great time. I actually had a reference picture when I was doing this build, because I needed some inspo. You all needed a little bit of inspiration. This is a huge lot. The only thing I will say is I cut out the landscaping because there's so much. There's so much landscaping. But more so than that, the landscaping doesn't necessarily mesh with the world around here. I can't even tell you what my thought process was when I was deciding that it was going to have lush green landscaping, but you're going to see what I'm talking about in just a second. But I actually built this with my friend Kelly. If you guys recall, a few weeks ago, my friend Kelly was staying with me when she was in between places while waiting for her new apartment to give her the go-ahead to move in. And I really got her into The Sims while she was here. She plays The Sims with her roommate already. Shout out to Kelly and Lorraine and their love for The Sims, but they actually play on console. So she really had a good time playing on a desktop, let alone a desktop like mine, because I have a very fancy desktop for those of you who didn't know. I play on an Omen 40L gaming desktop, and I have 2 monitors, and I literally love it. I get asked that all the time in my stream, and that is what I have. I would be happy to do a video going more in depth on my setup, but I'm not gonna lie to you guys. You know this. I'm not technically not tech savvy, so I'm definitely just gonna read off the packaging that I have. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that sometimes, because at least you're getting the proper information. Shout out to my boy Mark from the Best Buy. For those of you who don't know, I don't want to say I impulse bought my computer, because that's just not the truth. I've wanted a setup like this for as long as I could remember, but I was planning on waiting until I hit a certain milestone or I saved up enough. But during, I believe it was Labor Day or Memorial Day, I think it was Memorial Day, I ended up finding a great deal, and I was really excited to get this, and it definitely helped enhance my entire channel. And like, I've progressed so much since I bought this computer, so I can't say I have any complaints about it, or the fact that I or quote unquote impulse bought it, because it's allowed me to really do more of what I love and do it at a higher quality, because I didn't have the best quality last time. Although the laptop I did have for the time being was everything I could have asked for and what I could afford at the time, because, you know, school's not cheap, computers aren't cheap. Anyway, but when I went to buy this computer, I went to the Best Buy closest to my house, which is really close, like maybe 10 minutes if it's traffic, like rush hour time. And I get there, and I was like, hey, like, I need some help. By some help, I mean like a lot of fucking help. And they were like, yeah, just go like stand over by the computers. And it took, no joke, like 30 fucking minutes for them to get to me. And then when I asked the guy like for help and told him what I needed, I was like, haha, like, I don't really know what I'm looking for. I know what I want, I don't know the logistics of it. And he was like, well, when you figure it out, let me know. I was like, okay. I was already feeling really intimidated by the entire buying process. And eventually I just got really upset and I fucking bolted. I was like, fuck this, I'm done, I'm leaving. Best decision I could have made. I ended up going to the next closest Best Buy to my house, which was like 40 minutes away. And I was greeted by a lovely gentleman named Mark. I did all the surveys for Mark, do not worry. And whenever I did like follow-up surveys, like, how are you still enjoying your computer? I'm like, I'm enjoying it more because my boy Mark is so fucking slay. And he helped me through the entire process. He answered all my silly questions. He explained them to me in plain English because I don't understand lots of things. I learned a lot. And all in all, I ended up having a really positive experience after a really negative experience. So I think I just got like a bad apple. But that was like my little computer buying experience. I never talk about these builds. It's so bad. Let's talk about the build for a second. I was obsessed with these green turquoisey cabinets from The Sims 4 Cottage Living, and then literally I think at the very last second, it might not even be in the footage because I might have done it right before I uploaded this house to the gallery, I changed them. I can't remember what color I changed them to, but I know I changed them. Like I said, my friend Kelly and I were building this kind of together. By kind of together, I mean after she had her wisdom teeth out and she was all poofy. It was like really late at night one time, and I was building, and she's like, "Do you care if I come sit in your office and watch you build?" I was like, "I don't give a fuck. Live, laugh, slay. Like, let's build some fucking Sims houses." But I ended up doing something a little different. I am terrible at having closed off floor plans, but it is still a little open. I ended up using a half wall, and you're going to see what I do here in a second. But I actually really enjoyed the way it came out. For those of you who do not know, I actually at one point lived on a big farm. We rented like a little house on said farm. We lived on 3 acres at some point in my life, only for a little while, like 2 years. Ugh, the furniture from this pack is so good. And I used to have like a little twangy accent. I was real cute, and I used to love horses, and I wanted to be a horseman. And my aunt actually, I don't know what the technical term is for it necessarily, but she basically like buys fixer-upper horses, and she trains them with my uncle, and then she sells them once they've made some money, and they're like better horses now. And she's got quite the eye. My aunt literally is crazy. She can walk into a barn and just look at an animal and be like, "Yep, this is what's wrong with it." She's incredible. Very smart. Really fun person to be around. No horseman is. And I actually learned so much. I used to spend the summers with my uncle who rented a plot at a barn and trained. I'm just switching the living room over there now, and then I'm gonna put the living room where the dining room was. But I used to spend summers with my uncle hot walking horses for $5 a horse, and I would learn and be his like little personal assistant. And I would literally get up at like 3:30 because the man never set an alarm clock. He would just wake up because he'd been doing it so long. But like, he always woke up in a window, but there was no rhyme or reason, and he was gone. Like, if you weren't up, you were, that's it. So I'd get up at like 3:30, 4 o'clock. I'd make coffee, and then I would just like sit there and wait for him to get ready. This was definitely when I was fully in like my Wattpad era and during those summers, because I had no TV in my room, and he lived in like a little Hobbit cottage. I'm not kidding. We used to call it the Hobbit house because it had like a big round door and the ceilings were so short. And my uncle was also only like 5'1", because before he was a trainer, he was a jumping jockey, which was really cool. But I had a lot of fun building this because recently said uncle passed away, and not like a sad thing. Like, he was very sick and very old, so like, you know, much better place or whatnot. But I had a good time because like a lot of the furniture in this house and just the style of build really reminded me of his house. He had all like the dark leather furniture and like pictures of horses, and whenever you win a race, you go in what's called the winner circle, and they take your picture, and you can buy those photos. And they come out like really nice 8x10, and the top is like the horse's photo, the stats of the race, what race it was in, who raced in the race, and then the bottom is like the winner circle picture, and typically like the trainer, the owners, the horse, or the stable that the horse ran under, stuff like that. And all of this furniture was just like making me feel so nostalgic and like reminisce on being a little kid, because my parents worked a lot growing up. They still work a lot. So I went to like every vacation Bible school you can imagine. Jewish vacation Bible school, Christian vacation Bible school, Protestant vacation Bible school, because it was free. And at a certain point, you're not allowed to stay home by yourself, like when you're real little. And so when I finally was allowed to go spend the summers with my uncle, it was like such a nice refresher of independence, and I could do so much, and I was so tired all the time. And he used to take me for broccoli rabe pizza, which sounds kind of gross if you look it up, but it's actually really delicious, and every time I eat it I think about him. So that's a little tidbit about my childhood, at least the good parts. Just kidding, Mom. I love you. I had a great childhood. I just have, like, a little bit of, like, stuff. I'm just kidding. As you can see, we are moving into the primary bedroom. I imagine that this house was inherited by the young woman who I made for it. I actually ended up making her for a video I did a few weeks ago where I reviewed a mod to expand farm animals that was suggested to me on my TikTok live. But I just imagine, like, maybe her grandparents passed and she inherited this house and was, like, kind of redoing it. Like, this is, like, she loves this. I absolutely love this bed that came with the Horse Ranch expansion pack because, personally, I think the swatches on it are just amazing. It's got some really good, like, on-theme swatches for the entirety of the pack, but it's also got really versatile swatches. Like, I feel like even the one I used here, I could totally put that in a teenage girl bedroom, or, like, a really it girl vibey, whimsical, feminine kind of apartment, and it would mesh really, really well. And that's how I feel about quite a lot of the furniture. That's one reason I think I hold Horse Ranch in such high regard, because really, I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, because it's just not my style. Like I said, the build mode's not my style, the gameplay's not necessarily my style, the clothes are definitely not my style, but I'm not really a cast girly. For those of you who know, all my Sims are, like, generic as fuck, or I steal them off the gallery from people who are actually talented. And, ooh, thunder. And I, just genuinely love this pack. I think the furniture's gorge, and the gameplay's really fun. They did a really great job on the horses overall, and I would actually recommend getting this pack. Now, if you only have $40 to spend, because this is not my typical kind of gameplay, I don't know if this is the only pack I would buy if I only had $40 to spend, but I will tell you it's very, very top tier. Just had to do a little pausey pause because the thunder is thundering, going literally crazy. But yes, we are finishing up the first bedroom, and this house actually ends up being really big. I want to say it ends up being a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, but I said I built this a few weeks ago, so don't hold me to it. And it's not a limited pack build. You guys know I love doing limited pack builds because, for me, if I wasn't a SimTuber and not in the financial place that I was, which I'm very grateful for because I do work full-time, and shout out to all the scholarships that have paid for college, I would not have this many packs. There is over $1,000 in DLC last time I checked, and that was over a year and a half ago, so it's just too much. But I will say I mainly used the Horse Ranch pack, Cottage Living, definitely have some nifty knitting, because I just love that. It's so cute, the idea of, like, crocheting things and whatnot. And the house is very expensive, but again, money cheats and willpower if you so choose to play with this build. Just finishing up the hallway, and I do believe I am right with the 3 bedrooms kind of thing. And actually, last minute, I was going to have an additional bathroom downstairs behind the kitchen. But last minute, I instead decided to make a nectar cellar because, for those of you who do not know, if you age nectar underground and make, like, a basement, it helps it age way faster. I won't say way faster because it still takes quite a long time to age some nectar, but let me tell you, what a fucking hack. If you can, like, power through the wait, you can make so much fucking money off of the nectar. Right now, the bedroom we're furnishing right this second is what I would imagine to be, like, Granny's room. And this house, the bedroom I just did, was what I would imagine her granddaughter is. And you're gonna think this room looks a little crazy, because it does. I started going for one thing, and I ended up across the field. Completely out of left field with this. I really, really wanted her to be, like, a cute little cross stitcher and have, be, like, such a knitter. Because I was very reminiscent while I was doing this. For those of you who do not know, I actually know how to knit and purl. And I want to say sew very loosely, because when I say sew, I mean, like, I could definitely fix a button and, like, a couple straps, but I wouldn't necessarily think I could make a dress. And I learned that through public education. My kindergarten charter school that I went to, it was like a public charter school, I don't really know how that works, but they taught knitting and the recorder. I also know hot cross buns, and I probably always will to the day I die. And then my grandmother was a big knitter, so I used to knit with my grandmother, and, yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to have like a little crafty old lady in this bitch because what else would I do? The only thing is the Nifty Knitting furniture is like very, what's a good word for it? Kind of like childlike in my opinion. It's very cartoonish, and I was going for like this rustic feel on one side of the room, and then the only swatch that I found that I kind of liked was the black, so I was like, fuck it, we're riding with the black, and I just like switched the color tones. I've been doing a better job on stream lately and some of my other builds, as you might notice, but a lot of you guys have a big problem with the fact that I don't paint my walls until the very end, and I do apologize for that, but I need to like know the vibes. The only time I paint the walls first, other than the fact that when I'm getting yelled on stream because of it, is when I already like go in knowing what I'm doing. Here I am trying to decide which bed I want. This room is for a horse girl. This is a horse girl's dream. Dream. Shout out to any horse girls who have entered the chat, but if you know me, then you know I stan horse girls. I think like I might be obsessed with them. I think in another life I would have been a horse girl. I say that to my mom all the time. You know, when you think about like different decisions in your life that have like completely defined it. Had I not moved away from like the more country-esque kind of place I lived in where people were barrel racing and the rodeo was like a regular occurrence and horse people were everywhere, I think about who I would have been. And I think that this young lady right here, or this young lady's bedroom, because I didn't actually make her, this would have been me, an overachieving horse girl. Now I'm an overachieving Sims girly. Shout out to my mom for making an overachiever, period. That's what being a middle child will do to you. Shout out to all my middle children who have made it into the chat as well, because how are your issues? Mine have led me into talking to myself on the internet and sharing stories that no one asked for that are probably mildly inappropriate. But at least I'm having a good time. I could not resist the urge to use that one salt lamp because it's from the Pastel Pop Kit, and I know I shouldn't have used it because literally it's probably the only thing I use in this entire freaking build that's from the Pastel Pop Kit. And if I were you guys, I'd be so mad at me, like, bad me, bad Tiana. I feel kind of bad, but whatever. And then we're finally getting into our nursery. The nursery is very much, in my opinion, gender neutral. I didn't have, like, an idea for what I wanted to do with it quite yet. It's green and brown, and there are some animals on the wall. Yeah, that's what I went for. I really wanted to use this rug, and I just love that green swatch on the crib. And I've said it once, and I'm going to say it again 1,000 times because I have so many issues with it. I had a really hard time with the layout of this room because I wanted to fit the changing table. Here's my thing about the changing table. They gave us the infants, and I understand that with the new pack coming out, they wanted to give us some infant stuff that was not base game. But how the fuck are you going to make infants a base game update? And you're going to make some base game cribs, which I respect. But then you're going to have the matching changing table to the base game cribs, which are literal replicas of the base game toddler beds, but not put them in for the base game. Sims team, I will not be forgiving you for that anytime soon. Oh, I love that little Blarfy. It's so cute. I will not be forgiving you anytime soon for that, and I will throw hands over it. I just think they should have at least given us one, you know, and I'm sure I still would have complained because I'm going to be honest, I am a complainer, but still, I just don't think it was right they did that. I ended up changing out that little glass roof piece that I really liked at first, and I still do really like it, but it just wasn't meshing well for me. And I needed some windows in that room. The house is gigantuous, in my opinion. We got some of that new stone. I wanted to do more of a modern farmhouse when I first set out to this, but I ended up obviously flying the coop on that one and doing something a lot more rustic and inspired. Here I am starting the landscaping. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you sit through the landscaping. I did cut out a good majority of it, but do not worry. Per usual, I will be giving a live tour in real time so you guys can see, because I understand I speed these videos up like 5 times speed and they're buzzing all over the place. They get a little crazy to look at. But I was really happy with how the landscaping came out actually, because this lot is so giant and I had a hard time kind of breaking it up at a certain point. And I used this really cute little gold horse statue. And for those of you who do not like grow up anywhere that has stuff like this, where I used to grow up, where I used to live, we actually, like, even if you lived in like the rinkiest dinkiest little trailer, everywhere had really extravagant entryways with like fences that said like welcome to Bates Farm, welcome to Smithfield Farm, and like no matter what. And they also had really long driveways, so I was kind of trying to capture that. As you can see, there's a lot of landscaping. I'm not the best landscaper, so if you guys have any little tips you want to share with me, please let me know. Also, don't be mean to me about my landscaping, because we all know one thing is true about me, and that is that I am sensitive and self-aware for the most part. I try to be. Again, very sensitive. You don't need to say anything about that if you want to be mean to me. I put some cute little rocking chairs that came there, and now I'm just finishing up a tad more of the like minor details, more fences. I definitely put in a like a training kind of area for the horses. I didn't end up connecting it directly to the barn, but one thing I found when I was playing with horses is they're pretty self-sufficient. Like, they just go wherever the fuck they want anyways. So yeah, but there's plenty of ways to take care of your horses. I sized that down and it should just work, or it should work just fine. I've play tested it in other builds that I've done, or like I was playing with the horses on live for like 3 weeks and had a really good time. Oh, we just jumped the gun on that one. I probably did that thing where I paused my recording and then just like was like, okay, just kidding. Oops, better start that again. But I did like a little outdoor dining area. There's a fire pit in the back, as you can see. I'm just doing the last little bit of detail, some hay bales. There is a garden. Again, don't worry about the little jump cuts that I do. I know they can be frustrating, but I also know you guys don't want to listen to me talk that long, because the longer I talk, the crazier the stories we get in. And also, there was so much landscaping involved, and that's probably what happened. Is I was like, let me throw this down while I was landscaping, and I had it paused, and I was like, oh, fuck. That's why I don't normally pause my recording in the middle of recording, and I just cut through it. But it, no joke, took me like 2.5 hours, 3 hours to fucking landscape all this, and like figure out how I wanted to split up the lot. But shout out to my friend Kelly for helping me design this place. She actually picked out a lot of the elements that I ended up going with, especially the stone that you see kind of lay out the walkway with the terrain paint. That was all Kelly, and I think it looks quite fabulous. It was fun having someone to play with. I felt like when I was little and I would watch my sister play The Sims 3, except I wasn't allowed to sit on her bed because I would wrinkle the covers or whatever the fuck that means, like big sister things. So she'd make me stand there, and then she'd like stop mouth breathing, but like, so I would just like hold my breath and be like, and like watch her play. And now look at me with my own Sims YouTube channel. Yeah. So here I am. I last minute end up deciding, because I was going to do an outdoor bathroom, but I ended up last minute putting in a little nectar cellar, which I actually think came out so adorbs, in my personal opinion. Of course, if you don't feel that way, keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. I just wanted to put some aspects that came with like the main game feature other than the horses, and I love nectar making. I think it's so fun. I would love to do it in real life, wine making. Except I don't really fuck with wine like that. Alright everyone, so this is the final house. Excuse these random little welcome wagon foods that are over here, but peep our little golden horse statue that I told you about, and our great big entryway, and our makeshift pretend long driveway. So you come over into the house, and we'll do the house tour first. But you have this beautiful little entryway. I really like where I put the stairs. I love that you can fold the stairs like that. I think it looks really cute in here. A little cowboy hook. Then you're going to come on into here with the finished dining room. There is a pole right there, but it's like glitched out and disappeared. With this gorgeous dining room table and a brand new piano. And then our living room area. I told you I ended up changing the cabinets super last minute and the floor tiling to yellow. I don't really have a rhyme or reason. I don't remember why, but I decided the blue that I was obsessed with was no more. Then we have the primary bedroom and the primary bathroom. All the bathrooms pretty much look the same. I did use some of the new appliances. This little sink is from the new Horse Ranch pack, obviously. Then if you come on up the stairs, you have this gorgeous little entryway, or hallway. Pete by Sims, she's dancing. They love dancing to these little radios. Ugh, it's kind of annoying. Then we have my horse girl bedroom, and this horse girl room is horse girling in my personal opinion. Love it. Another bathroom. Then we have Granny's craft room / bedroom. It's really cute in here. Her little ensuite. And then we have an infant's bedroom. It's really cute in here. Now let's take a tour of the outside. Oh, I forgot almost. This is our little nectar room, of course. Nothing special, but, you know, at least we can make our own nectar at home. But then, when you come out the front and you go down the pathway, you also have this little horse barn over here. It's got room for up to 2 horses, but I found that they kind of sleep wherever, so you can have as many horses as you want. There is, like, little food stalls and whatnot, some clutter, some hay bales, really cute in here. Then you go through the walking path, and I made this little, like, garden that you can walk through, and I'm really happy with how the side of the house came out. I'm not normally this good. Oh, this is from me testing the mod. So when you download this house off the gallery, these are not there. My bad. I was testing a mod, guys. But this is a little area where the horses can train, and of course we have my little garden area. It's nothing special. It's just literally like a fenced-in plot. And then this is where the fireplace would be, except, again, I had to move it because I was testing a mod. Then you come over here, and we have this gorgeous little outdoor kitchen space, which I thought was really, really cute and sweet. I like the tiling that I used out here. It's very realistic. My best friend, when I lived on the farm, her parents' house had tiling like this around the pool, so very nostalgic. And then some little floaties. I always forget to put floaties in, so I just saw them and I was like, fuck yeah, we're doing this. And then we have another little flower arranging table, a chess table, and of course the rocking chairs, and that is the entire house. It is a really big house, a really big lot, and there was a lot of landscaping. I'm quite happy with how it turned out, and I had a lot of fun building it with my friend. But if you're enjoying watching more of these builds and you want to see what comes next, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.